This is an iHeart podcast.
You don't need to be ripped. You just need the right shirt. Epic Fits gives you a clean, confident silhouette, snug on the arms, soft on the skin, generous where it counts. And with deals like $15 per tee, they won't break the bank. Visit epicfits.com today. Epic Fits. T-shirts that get it.
Mark Rutte, the NATO chief, who is your friend, he called you daddy earlier. Do you regard your NATO allies as kind of children?
No, he likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay?
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good Thursday morning. It's so nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update. And here are the two very big stories we have for you today. First up, Donald Trump warning America about a 100% communist lunatic that radicals in New York City have chosen to be their nominee to become the mayor. Just how dangerous is this individual? We'll break down what he believes in and why Donald Trump is warning you that the Democratic Party is dead and the communists, socialists, and Marxists have taken over. Also, in shocking testimony before Congress that the media is not reporting on, a former Biden aide says, quote, she does not know who ordered President Biden's Autopen signatures. We'll give you the details on what all she said to Congress and why this story is being hidden from you. But first, I got to tell you, there is an amazing cup of coffee that's sitting in front of me right now. And if you're a coffee drinker, you've got to know about Crockett Coffee. When I had my first cup, I knew it was special. It is roasted to perfection in small batches on purpose by experts who love the taste of great coffee. It's roasted also in our nation's heartland, and it's delivered fresh to your door. You're going to love it. And one of the best things is who has started this company. Buck Sexton and Clay Travis, two good friends of mine, and I can tell you they don't cut corners. They only want quality. Top quality, that is what they do. With small batch roasting, it is their specialty, and this is why I want you to try it, because they don't sell out. Yeah, when companies get big, their quality usually drops. You don't have to worry about that here. And here's the other thing. You can choose between fresh ground or whole bean coffee. You can also grab the K-Cups. That's what I just brewed a moment ago. You choose. And if you're interested in mushroom coffee and positive benefits that come with enjoying that each day, Crockett Coffee is now producing that as well. They've got dark roast, mild roast, light roast, a decaf version, and the mushroom organic blend. You choose what you like to try first, and a portion of your purchase goes to support Tunnel to Towers Foundation, because the good people at Crockett Coffee also pledge to never forget. Now, you ready to try great coffee? I'm going to save you money right now. Go online to crockettcoffee.com. Use my name, Ben, and you're going to get 20% off your first order. That's crockettcoffee.com. And my name, Ben, is your promo code, and you're going to get 20% off. You're going to get a great, great cup of coffee. Try it right now. crockettcoffee.com. Use my name, Ben, and you're going to get 20% off your first order. It's the 47 Morning Update, and it starts right now.
Story number one.
President Trump weighing in on the New York City mayor's race, where Mondani has had a big win. Who is he? As Trump described it, a 100% communist lunatic. The president calling the New York City mayoral primary a big moment in the history of our country. And why? Because of what is actually happening. Now, I've been saying for quite some time that I thought the Democratic Party was dead. It's actually filled with Marxists, socialists, and communists. Many of them too afraid to tell you the truth of who they are, so they claim they're a Democrat. But think back over the last 50 years. Look at the leaders of the Democratic Party. They were anti-communist crusaders. In fact, even Catholic. And what did they do? Well, if you look at JFK, he was a man that wanted to actually take America to outer space to be first. Well, today, it's a foreign-born communist Muslim trans activist who says he wants to defund the police that the Democratic Party is advocating for. You have to ask yourself the question, how did we get to this point where there was so much decay? It's actually a pretty easy answer. Democrats changed their voters by importing massive amounts of illegal immigrants from third world socialist and communist countries. and then appealing to their extremist ideologies that they grew up under. They destroyed what the Democratic Party was. And now what you see is a Democratic Party that is dead, and the Democrats are the ones that actually killed it. So what does this man actually believe? Well, he's a 33-year-old Democratic socialist and a current state assemblyman in New York. He is an individual that believes in, quote, free public transit, buses along with freezing subway fares. He also wants a rent freeze, taking away the rights of those that own property. He wants city-run grocery stores in every borough, taking away the private sector so you'll have what they have in Russia or Venezuela or any of the other socialist or communist countries around the world. He is demanding $30 minimum wage as well and higher taxes, saying it's time for the, quote, rich, to pay their fair share. Increasing corporate tax plus a 2% city income tax surtax on all millionaires to fund what he describes as universal childcare. He also wants there to be free transit and free housing. Now, if you're an opponent of these radical ideas like Donald Trump, then you argue simply this: businesses are going to run for the hills. It's going to destabilize New York's economy. But that doesn't seem to matter to the socialists and the Marxists. President Trump put it this way on Truth Social, quote, "We've had radical lefties before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. He looks terrible. He's not very smart. He's got AOC +3. Dummies all backing him. And even our great Palestinian senator, crying Chuck Schumer, is groveling over him." The Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who's Jewish and is not of Palestinian heritage, and the House Majority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, now they said who cares, both congratulating the radical socialists on Wednesday morning and vowed to meet with state lawmakers. Of course, they stopped short of, endorsing him. So here's the bottom line. This man represents a rise, a dramatic shift towards a bold progressive agenda in New York. He's advocating sweeping reforms in transit, housing, taxation, social services, LGBTQ+ and trans health support that you, the taxpayer, will pay for. And he's proposed $65 million in funding for that alone. Meanwhile, yet he says he's not an extremist. He's just a man listening to the people. Well, when you import millions of illegal immigrants into New York, this is exactly what you get. The ideology is extreme, and the Democratic Party is dead. I'll give you one example of what he had to say on MSNBC. As he said, we built a campaign around one idea: to make New York City affordable again. In translation, that means take from the rich and give free stuff to the poor that voted for him in the primary.
As I'm sure you probably haven't consumed all of it, I suppose, but there's been a lot of analysis, a ton, on what your success last night and in the last couple of weeks means nationally for the Democratic Party. Unquestionably, it means something about how people campaign, but what do you think it means?
I think it is part of a larger referendum on where our party goes. And I think one of the hopes that we had from the very beginning of this campaign was to move our political instinct from lecturing to listening. At the national level, after the presidential election, we saw that New York was actually the state with the largest swing in the country towards Donald Trump, 11.5 points, and that swing took place far from the caricature of Trump voters, instead taking place in the hearts of immigrant New York City. And I went to those neighborhoods. I went to Fordham Road in the Bronx and Hillside Avenue in Queens, and I asked those New Yorkers, the vast majority of whom were Democrats, why they voted for Trump and what it would take to bring them back to the Democratic Party. And again, what I heard from them was cost of living, was an inability to afford the very things they recalled being able to purchase 4 years ago. And when they told me what it would take, they said again and again a relentless focus on an economic agenda. And ultimately, in listening to them, we built a campaign that was explicitly about making this city affordable. And I think too often in politics, there's a desire to impose what you think the debate is upon the people that you're seeking to represent, as opposed to listening to the very issues that are making it difficult for them to keep calling the city that they love the city that they live in.
You look at all of what he just said there, and what you really have to go back to is that one statement. What I heard from them was cost of living was an inability to afford the very things they recall being able to purchase 4 years ago. So the response to that is, we're going to take from the rich and we're going to give to the poor. But what really got him across the finish line is this. Stephen Miller at the White House putting this out on X saying, quote, to understand the pace and the scope of migration to America in the past years, 1/3 of New York City is now foreign-born, and almost 2/3 of New York City children live in a foreign-born household. Yes, they've imported new voters into New York City. This is how the Democratic Party is planning on changing the entire country. This is why they had open borders. And this is why the Biden administration allowed radicals to come into this country. Or to put it another way, take a listen to Jesse Waters on Fox.
To pursue.
It wasn't just what he was selling, it was how he sold it, Jesse. He is very prolific on social media, especially TikTok. And his mother is a film producer, and many of his ads and the things that they put up on social media were very attractive. They had the merch, and it became like a vibe campaign, which helped put him over the edge.
Yeah, well, you can't blame the blacks and Hispanics. They voted for Cuomo. You got to blame the whites. They wanted communism, and they got it. They loved communism in college, and then they graduated with no skills and $200,000 in debt. And they came into a city that's hard to get ahead with high prices. So they see this kid on TikTok talking about he's going to soak the rich and he's going to control prices. And they say, that's my guy. Okay, so he gets into the city hall, and then what? He's just going to attack the country, cops and capitalism? He's just going to cause more crime and chaos. He's going to turn the prisons inside out, and he's going to turn Whole Foods into no foods. This is what happens when you let the wacky wing of the Democrat Party run wild. This is what the Democrat establishment's been trying to keep a lid on for decades, since Occupy Wall Street. Biden tried to keep a lid on it. Cuomo couldn't keep a lid on it. This is the Bernie bro, Dave Hogg, AOC faction that's now going to run wild all over the place. And you're basically giving this, I guess he's a Muslim communist from another country, City Hall in the best city in the world. This is the financial capital of the world. It's the biggest city in America. And you're going to run a communist out. I thought I was right when I said we'd hit rock bottom with Bill de Blasio. I was wrong. And it takes a big man to admit they were wrong. But I was wrong. And so this guy is going to do his thing. And thank God I left for Jersey.
The takeaway is this. And there's a big, important point and a warning for the rest of the country. A warning that Donald Trump brought up today. The commentary about New York City Democrats nominating an anarchist socialist for mayor omits one point. How unchecked migration fundamentally remade the New York City electorate. Democrats change politics by changing the voters. That's how you turn a city that defined U.S. dominance into what we're witnessing right now.
Now, story number 2.
There's a very important story that is getting virtually no coverage right now. So I hope all of you will share this information wherever you can. And that is the shocking admission by a former Biden aide announcing that she does not know who ordered President Biden's Autopen signatures. Neera Tanden, a former top aide to President Joe Biden, told Congress under oath that she had authorization to direct Autopen signatures for the president, but doesn't know who gave the final order. Tanden served as the director of Biden's Domestic Policy Council, and she told Congress during testimony that the president used an automatic signature tool, allowing for aides to sign pardons, sign memos, and other official documents in the White House. Tanden said she did not know who authorized any of those signatures. During her interview before Congress, which lasted more than 5 hours, she told lawmakers that in her role as staff secretary and senior advisor to the former president between 2021 and 2023, that she was authorized to direct Autopen signatures on behalf of Biden. An oversight committee official has confirmed this now to Fox News. Tanden, who reportedly said during her testimony that she had, quote, limited interactions with Biden in her role, even though she was a senior advisor. That, according to sources familiar with her testimony, described an approval process that left her, at least partly, in the dark about who specifically was giving final approval on the decisions to use the automatic signature tool, even though she'd simultaneously simultaneously insisted, quote, Biden was in charge. Tannen reportedly testified that to get approval for the use of Autopen signatures, she would send decision memos to members of Biden's inner circle. Now remember, these are people elected by no one. She added that she was not aware of what actions or what approvals took place between the time she sent the decision memo and the time she received it back with the necessary approval, according to sources familiar with what happened in this testimony. A minority member of the Oversight Committee called Tandem's characterization, quote, a lie, with a statement from a former White House staffer saying that they received, quote, a written sign-off from Biden on every executive action she presented with him. The only problem is she's under oath and saying that's not how it went down at all. Any other characterization is a distortion of the testimony. The former Biden official stated, quote, to insinuate that Neera Tandem said President Biden did not approve every single presidential decision and sign off on every executive action coming out of the White House is a lie. Well, she's saying that it's the truth. Tandem's attorney agreed with the staffer, adding that the Autopens were used after Biden approved the decisions, saying this in a cleanup statement. The Autopen was used only after President Biden personally approved the decision. Aides at no time signed these documents on President Biden's behalf. Again, that's not what her testimony was under oath. So just know this is the big story that we should be talking about. And also know that the media will not touch the fact that a former Biden aide does not know, this is her testimony, who ordered the president's Autopen signatures.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
You don't need to be ripped. You just need the right shirt. Epic Fits gives you a clean, confident silhouette, snug on the arms, soft on the skin, generous where it counts. And with deals like $15 per tee, they won't break the bank. Visit epicfits.com today. Epic Fits. T-shirts that get it.
This is an iHeart podcast.